Tyler Kimmel.
Okay, this is the regular meeting of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee for October 30th, 6:33. We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. We have a quorum present and an agenda has been sent to all members. First thing, let's review and approve the minutes of the previous meeting of September 25th. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, next item, we're going to jump ahead to item 5, would be to elect a committee scribe, which we deferred from our last meeting. Are there any nominations for scribe?
Unless I would gladly nominate you. But if you're hesitant.
This is my turn.
If you're hesitant, then we can wait till the next one.
Okay.
I should say, oh, I would really like to be described.
So are you, if nominated, are you willing to take the job or do you want to do it on a pro tem basis?
No, I'll do it this time, and then next week, if we have,
Okay.
next time, if we have a full thing, I mean, I've done.
Full
I can
committee.
Make a motion to nominate Kyler.
We can nominate.
You probably should wait till he's here,
Well, that's not-
right? All right, so let's defer the selection of a committee scribe, and Jan Peter has agreed to do this meeting on a pro tem basis. And we'll go forward from there, and hopefully we'll have a full committee at next meeting.
Because Tyler did a hell of a job.
He did a good job, yeah. Yeah. Right. And now that he has experience, maybe,
Hesitant
Oh,
to take it.
right.
Thank you.
Between him and Kyler. Heavy shoes. Big shoes to fill.
Thank you, Andy. So moving on with the agenda, item 3 is public comment. There's no public present, so we'll move forward to item 4, select board input. We have a select board member, Mr. O'Brien. Would you like to make any comments, sir?
Nothing major going on other than we have appointed 2 code enforcement officers, both on part-time basis.
You saw that
Tim
in
Giddens and Bill
Schmidt. Is it Bill Schmidt?
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Yes. I think they'll work pretty well in concert with each other, Bill handling the paperwork end of things and Tim handling the inspection end of things.
Bill Smith?
Schmidt, yeah,
My neighbor, Schmidt? No.
no,
that's not
up
Bill.
off Pullen Range Road.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, and Tim
And-
Gidding actually.
And like I talked about prior to the meeting, we have made an offer for the town administrator's position. We have hired an interim town administrator from the pool of retired town managers, so he'll be here a couple of days a week to help out. And Becky's training him, and he'll help train the new person when they come in.
Okay.
Is Becky leaving the day after the election?
The
Basically?
7th is the
7,
last
2
day.
days after. the
2
election.
days.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions
How
for?
do you smell Schmidt? Schmidt or Smits or
SBHMIDT.
T, DT? Okay, I got it. Well, he won't be here to correct us anyway.
Right. Okay, next item is discussion on the plan as it stands now. If you remember from last meeting,
I sit at the table.
certainly, actually, yeah, I'm gonna walk out there so I can see the screen. Right, or at least,
Hopefully I have.
Yeah. Right. And are you sharing the screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go there, and I think you've got it on the what if scenario.
Yes.
So.
Is that where I should be?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, if you remember from our discussion last year, We have this what if scenario where we show the plan in the top part of the screen. And then the what if scenario based on changes we would make to the plan as it currently stands. Now, the plan, the what if scenario is blank because we have not proposed any changes. And I don't know that we'll do that tonight, although it's possible. But what the committee had said last time was, let's take a look at where we stand, given the changes we made in the assumptions at the last meeting, because they were significant based on what we saw last year, and what we need to do to keep the capital reserve where we're comfortable. What we didn't have, or what we knew about, I think, but didn't have in the last time we looked at the plan, was the $300,000 of transfer from the capital surplus to the capital reserve account, which was approved at town meeting. So that's in here now. And you can see, if you look online, I think it's line 12, going across from column G over there, you can see the capital reserve account where it stands now. And then down, Teresa, if you could move the cursor and point to the pink in box in column F where it says plan. Down, lower, whoops, in column F. Yeah. That, if you read that to the right, that shows the balance projected in the capital reserve account based on the assumption we've set that we want to keep it at $300,000. Okay, so you can see that in the first year, we're projecting $1.017 million in the capital reserve account. Our benchmark would be 300. If you follow that across, you can compare those two. And what's an easier way to do it is if the projected capital reserve account were to fall less than 90% of the planned amount, then the cell would turn yellow with red bold numbers in it, highlighting the fact that it's below the benchmark. There's no highlighting if it's above the benchmark. So if you can see through years 1 through 10 at least, all looks normal in the cell. So we're at or above our threshold for the capital reserve account. We may be way above, is the only comment I'll make now. Questions that
May not be after you get new numbers.
we haven't heard anything yet from that standpoint. I mean, yeah, that's what we worry about.
So in year 3, where it says under fiscal year expenditure 0, like, does that mean we're not spending any money that year? What is
Yeah,
that in column I?
right there, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, because
that could change.
that always could change. And of course, with the inflation factors or the updates that the department heads bring us, that could change some things. There's also the fact that we have a discussion later tonight on things that might be needed to go into the plan that heretofore have not been there. So we'll have that discussion. So there's a lot happening. So at least we can see here where we stand. It's in a very comfortable place with where the assumptions are. In fact, you could even say, given that $300,000 that we got from the surplus, can we lower the projected appropriations? Now, maybe it's probably too early to look at that, but that's one use of that, is to kind of lower it, make for the taxpayer, use it to cover additional items that have come into town that we're going to talk about later that are not in the plan, or that will help cushion whatever news we get from the department heads when they come in with their cost replacement updates.
How are we looking 20 years out?
Good.
Teresa will show us. We have a planned benchmark of 908 and we got a $1.1 million.
Very good.
Yeah, so we get all the way through 20 years. So that $300,000, I think, is significant. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, when we ended last year, we had some issues.
right. And so I think the point of this review tonight was to say, all right, we made these assumptions kind of blindly and boldly in terms of what we felt was right going forward, in terms of assumptions for the new plan. What does the plan look like with those assumptions? Do they need any adjustments up or down now? And unless one committee member has some thoughts on that, I don't have anything to suggest.
I think the only thing we can do is just wait until the other department heads come in.
Until we get the new cost of
Right,
replacement costs.
Right.
There's nothing really we can do.
Yeah, we're just shooting.
right, but yeah, but I feel good that we did this to say, all right, we're in a pretty good spot, so they're gonna have to really come up with some surprises. Yeah, they did last year, so, I think that's a good thing. We're strong right now. We'll see what the future brings and, over the course of the next couple of meetings and go from there. I don't know, is there anything else anybody wants to see in the plan? You know, we only have one item for expenditure in the next plan, so that's gonna make it comfortable that way.
What are we spending this fiscal year? Just
This fiscal year,
yeah,
I can't remember.
have to go to the expenditure plan.
No, because it's not in,
Oh, okay,
we're already past this fiscal year.
okay.
There's like 4 items. There's a dump truck, there's,
Air packs.
yeah. Is there some communications equipment or,
Communication repeaters. I think that was it.
yeah, it's like 4 or 5 items. You have anything else?
I don't.
Teresa? Peter?
No.
Good, no, okay.
No, I think it looks like we're in a pretty good place until we get the new.
Right, I mean-
Expenditure numbers.
Yeah, fortunately, when we don't have any additional information, we feel good. I guess that's always the best way to start out a new plan, is
Yeah.
to feel good. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be pretty bad if we were already like, oh.
Yeah, right. Okay, the next item would be to review the list of items that were included in the agenda of items that have come into the town or been acquired by the town via grants over the last couple of years and are not included with the plan. The thought here is that at some point, these items will need to be refreshed. And it would be better to determine whether they're capital items rightfully in the plan or items that would not belong in the plan and other committees or departments would be concerned about the refreshment of those things. So,
Who would determine that? If it falls onto us or if it falls onto somebody else?
well, I think we're going to make the initial determination that we believe it belongs to us,
We have to bring it to them and they have to.
Okay.
right? And the select board, if they approve it, then it belongs to us. Yeah. So, yeah. So if we go through this item by item, and just one of the things that's in the back of my mind, and I think should be in your mind, is there are some items here, let's just say the boiler. We don't have any other buildings that we have in the plan or the equipment of those buildings in the plan. So if we consider the boiler in this building, keep in mind that we have a project coming through of another significant building in town, the firehouse and public works, that will have some type of heating system, a boiler or whatever it might be. So if it goes into the plan here, then major equipment items in that building also go into the plan.
That's true.
So,
But they're the same type of item. So I mean, if item has
Right.
certain characteristics that it fits the
Right.
plan, then it's, yeah.
And where did the boiler, like whose plan was that on up until it was?
nobody's,
Nobody's.
It's smooth, that's why. we're
Magically.
deciding- That's why we're deciding. it.
Okay.
right, so it,
We used ARPA money, if I
Right.
remember correctly, to
Yes.
replace the boiler here.
Well, I think, well, to start with the boiler, I think a boiler is an easy choice because a boiler has a life.
right,
And a life of 25 years and it breaks down and you have to replace it. I mean, repairs would be normal. You have that cost in your operating system. But to replace, there comes a time that you have to replace a boiler. And in my mind, that would be a clear capital item.
right, and I think if
It's
you,
an easy one.
I included with the agenda, an article, a piece of an article from Investopedia about capital expenditures, and I think the boiler, it's a major piece of equipment. It happens to be within another asset, but I think it's significant enough that, I think we could capitalize
I
that.
think so, yeah.
Would you call it an asset or a liability?
Well, the one we had was a liability, the one we have is an asset. And we would, maybe, if we get it into the plan, we could keep it from becoming a liability again.
Well, after 20 years.
Right after 20 years. Now, so we have a boiler in Mallet Hall that went in service in 2024, I believe. It was given a service life of 20 years by the Mallet Hall Committee that came before us a year ago, and an original cost of $20,000. Is there is there a motion to accept that item as a capital item that should be included in the plan? It's-
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the boiler in the capital.
I'll second.
That's it.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Next item on the list would be computer systems. Date and service was 2024, 10-year service life, original cost of $21,000. Now, as I understand that, this is the individual computers that are used throughout Mallet Hall by various employees in doing their duty. So as individual units of property, none of them probably qualify to meet the $10,000 capital threshold.
No, and they do have a budget for computers.
Right.
The problem was they weren't using it to replace computers, they were using it to replace software and
Right. But most likely, those assets will be replaced individually as they, over time, the normal wear and tear. So some may be 3 years, some may be 5 years, some could be 7 years.
I wouldn't
Seems a
think
bit aggressive.
computers.
Yeah.
Computer system.
I think computer systems as such would apply. I mean, if all of a sudden, for example, the town would purchase, and maybe they have, a software system for administrative whatever. I mean, in the trucking industry, all of a sudden, we purchased a software system to do routing, which was integrated with all kinds of, which was a one-time purchase, and which we were hoping would be good for the next 10 or 15 years. That would be a capital purchase, but the computers themselves, I can't see as a capital.
They're all PC type computers is what I understand.
Right.
So that's,
I think,
Yeah.
you know, looking at maybe 3,000 or
Yeah,
right.
probably 1,500 apiece.
Yeah.
that's an operating budget type of item.
Right, that's what I would think.
I would agree.
Okay. So we'll scratch that one. Sound system and AV equipment is the next item. Date and service is listed as 2023, 20-year life, and a $42,345 original cost. Now, what I understand, it's everything in this room that is used for the recording of meetings. I'm correct in that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's that big black box back there. It's the cameras on the walls. It's the microphones.
But it's not gonna it's not gonna, cut down all at once. I mean, the TV may broke down and you may have to buy a new TV.
Right. I mean, a component may fail,
Yeah.
before the service life is up, but generally, I would say that I would guess, particularly the black box that's back there, when that has to be replaced, that's a
Big ticket. item.
big ticket item, and probably you replace most everything else when you do that, either because the stuff is
Yeah, not
old
be
or
compatible.
compatibility with whatever you wind up buying is the.
Yeah. So you would, once that thing would go, you think you'd replace the whole system?
Well, yeah, chances are the cameras will be different, then the microphones won't be much different, but.
Yeah, the technology changes so fast.
Right. So is there a motion on that
What was the original purchase?
42,345?
Motion. Okay. Your turn for the motion.
I will make the motion to include the sound system and AV equipment into the capital plan.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item would be the acoustic materials in the DeWitt Room. 2023, service life 40 years, original cost $15,781. That is the material on the walls, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else that was added, and it's probably the consulting fees that go with the materials. I don't know what is involved with the materials, but
I don't know. It wouldn't all go at once, would it? I mean, you.
I'm amazed at how well it works.
I am too, just, it works great.
This was an absolute echo chamber before this.
Uh,
So it was, yeah.
I hated coming to meetings in this room before.
I don't know. I mean, how long do these things last? I mean, they last and last, don't they?
It says 40 years service.
I mean,
Right, as long as they're taking, you're not abused.
Unless the select board one day decides they want a different color.
Right. I mean, I don't see that as capital equipment.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
No.
it's just a wall covering.
Especially not knowing the cost of the actual material compared to the consulting fees. We're not gonna have to have consulting fees again. We just
Right.
buy the same
That's
stuff.
right.
off the
That's
front
correct.
walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's degrading. You might replace 2 panels a year.
Right,
It Depends too, like I don't, in the daylight, like if the sun comes in, it might degrade one or two.
right.
Depending on the light.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Certain panels are gonna be subject to sunlight, yeah.
Yeah, somebody may spill coffee on one of them. I mean, they did that in the corner, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they get, meeting room gets packed or how it's used, people leaning against it, it's
Yeah.
probably not a good thing. Right. I just wish they'd put some now in the voting room
Not a
because
capital. equipment.
some committees meet down there and not only the lights so dim, you can't see much, but it's the echo chamber of Mount Hall now.
So no go on that one.
No go on that one. Okay, next item is that, wasn't on the list we got last year, but it was approved at town meeting, was a generator for the North Pownell Station. Date and service would be 2024, do not have a service life on that or an original, the original cost, as I remember, was up from town meeting was, you remember, it was like $12,000?
I think that was the up to amount, but I think they got it for around 9.
Okay. All right, that's, that.
That I think should be in the fire department operating budget.
One at Mallet Hall is in the capital plan.
Mhm.
And I can explain why.
But there's a generator at the center station too.
Okay, that's not in the,
No.
right. The generator here was put in the plan was like slightly over $12,000 when it went into the plan. It's now in the plan at
25,
less than 10.
is it?
That's why I bring this up. And somebody asked, but it was not answered, why is that in the capital plan? And the reason is, it's at $8,000 now. The reason is when it went into the plan, it was like over 12. And over the years, it's been modified back to 8. And I don't remember whether that's because
They just replaced the generator.
Right.
All the,
not the transfer switch and all the other gadgets that have to go, that's there for a longer life. And we may or may not, the generator unit itself probably has a shorter life than the transfer switch and some of the other,
No.
I don't know how it's,
I thought is take it out of the plan.
And what was the estimated price tag on this one?
I think it was over 12 or around 12 for the north panel, and Andy's thinking they're now getting it for 9. That would not meet the
Might be
threshold.
11.
Okay,
Maybe it was 11 something. But that includes all the installation work.
that's the installation of the electrical, right, so it's got, I would say,
Well, if you replace it, then the installation with the electrical would probably already be there.
Right.
yeah,
So I wouldn't think it would be, I mean, I agree with you that put it in the fire department operating budget.
comment?
I agree.
Okay. So on that one, we would not include that in the plan. So the only items we would include would be the boiler
The sound system.
and the sound system. And we would accept those into the plan and send a letter to the select board asking them to approve it, and then it would be final from that standpoint. Any other, I don't know of any other asset type items that have been acquired through grants that aren't being
What about
accounted.
that sign out front? Where does that fall?
You know how much that cost?
Well, it'll fall when one of the plow trucks.
Right. That's,
Somebody's gonna run into that.
Oh, yeah, somebody's totally gonna run into it.
The way they placed it, I
Yeah.
think. Cause you come in, somebody's gonna hit it.
there needs to be some type of barrier, right?
There's going to be a barrier in the spring.
Okay.
So it has to survive the winter.
Yeah.
So you're gonna give the snowplow all kinds of opportunity.
Okay.
Well, we've already had complaints that it's lit at night. So
It's lit at night.
they've shut it off at night.
Oh.
So when else would you light it?
Exactly.
Okay.
So they leave it lit at night, which is probably a smart thing,
The
wouldn't it?
four-way stop signs are lit up at night too.
Okay.
The shortstop.
Yeah, yeah,
Street lights on.
yeah.
They haven't used it yet, have they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know that
Yeah,
it says welcome to
welcome,
Pownell,
yeah.
but
Yesterday it had, in-person voting for,
oh, of course, yeah, yeah. Well, good.
Okay.
Will they allow me to announce our Peppermint Mountain potluck supper on the 16th of November? They probably would.
You asked.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
You guys should come to that.
I know you said that.
Yeah,
Guess I'm just gonna have to drive over here more often to see what's on the sign.
they're fun. June Lacombe is
Okay.
speaking for us.
Okay. Next item would be strategies and objectives. Included with the agenda was a list of the strategies and objectives. They are the same ones that we finished the year last year. I think last year was the year we changed these significantly from the last comprehensive plan, and those changes were sent to the select board. So I'm interested in any comments or thoughts. This is hopefully providing guidance for us as we go through the process of developing the next plan and what we would speak to at the end of the year when we write our town report as to what we accomplished this year. So the first one talks about maintaining a tool. Promote sound financial planning. The second one is recommending timely and cost-effective replacement, renovation, and acquisition of equipment and assets. Next one is evaluate and recommend sources of funding for the efficient delivery of town service. and then continue to look for ways to reduce costs.
And those are the official strategies and objectives for the committee.
That's what we have adopted in the past. Certainly, it's a new year. It's another opportunity to bring them up to date if they're not in line with where you think we should be going.
Well, I still think we need to look at investing some of the fund.
But I thought that there was another group that was dedicated to
Yeah,
that.
and Bo dropped out and
Okay.
he had done a lot of legwork and then disappeared.
I mean, wasn't he looking at like short-term CDs and stuff like that, or isn't that what we were looking at?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer.
A CD ladder
Would be
would
easy
be
to do.
very easy.
Yeah,
to-
easy to do, safe.
If he dropped out but if he already did a lot of legwork and so forth, then I assume that you're working on getting that before dropping it on us.
No, I'm not asking you.
No, I realize that, but before we say, oh yeah, we really want to do that, I think it should be looked at, what are we gonna do after? Is Bo coming back, doing it, finishing it up, or is somebody else gonna do it, or whatever?
The select board adopted an investment policy.
Right.
Is who's in charge of implementing that?
I guess I'm gonna have to take that bull by the horns again.
So you have to do
I
that
did it
before
in
June.
the early stages and then I kind of let it fall off the radar,
Yeah.
but
I mean, from just the review we had of the plan, there's excess
there's an opportunity.
cash
to-
in that account that we could invest, although, we're,
And still be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
save the taxpayer some money.
Yeah.
right. And Becky, when she gave me the interest amount to put into the plan, or told me what it was, when she gave me the updated balance, it was, I mean, it's like $17,000 over the last year. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And we can get even more if we can get it, the excess cash invested.
Right.
Mhm.
What would you
I
suggest?
guess we would have to look at it as far as what we would consider excess and what percentage of the plan we could invest.
Right,
And
I
the-
mean.
And the length of time. too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would, the way I thought it would work, whatever group was actively involved in creating the investment from the policy, they would come to us for some input and say, all right, you got $1 million in the reserve. How much of that are you gonna need in the next 12 months, in the next 18, 24 months? So we don't tie it up for too long a period while we're trying to make some income to support the town.
I mean, could we look at once we know what our expenditures are year over year, we could kind of make a educated.
Yeah, I
guess.
think it would be easy for us to say,
Like, if we look at this year.
I would leave yourself a cushion.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm not saying take,
Yeah,
we're spending
if we could
85
take-
grand, let's take $900,000
Right.
and go
If-
crazy.
if we could take 50 to 60%
Yeah,
of the unexpended balance or end capital reserve balance.
right.
And invest that,
Yeah.
that would certainly offset.
yeah. So if we do it in safe investments, it's not.
Yeah, and there's
a
legally,
big
there's
gain.
about the only thing we can do is CDs.
Mhm.
Um,
At a better interest rate than what we're already at.
yeah, and I think if you talk to whoever our banker is and say, all right, we're going to be investing these funds. Tell us what your proposal is, and we
Yeah.
can always shop that to other banks.
I'm
Who do we use?
kind of hoping
TD, I
that
think.
our new, should she accept the offer, our new town administrator, if you will, would have some savvy in this area from other towns and maybe help us along.
I would hope that, they have some type of cash management background that would help us. I know that my initial experience in business 40 years ago when I told my CFO to do it. What I wanted, I wasn't quite as explicit as I should have been because he took all of our cash and invested it in CDs. They were safe, but we didn't have any money for a while. So,
All of it.
yeah, no, not all of it,
You're
just,
gonna have some operating.
yeah, it was a one rung ladder. And so we were biting our nails for, I don't know, it was 30 or 60 days. Well, that, and then we,
Eating ramen.
right, then I learned to be more explicit in my instructions.
That's
Or I
one way
thought
to
I
learn a
did.
lesson.
Yes. So. But there was also, Andy, in that investment policy, that isn't just for this committee's
No.
fund,
that's
it's for the
also-
entire town.
It is.
And there's a lot more excess funds in the town that,
Correct.
So do you need somebody from the public to show up and kind of ask that question at a select board meeting?
I think that would be wonderful.
I might be able to find somebody that would be willing to drive over and do that. And now that's, we've looked at it, we've talked about it, might be a good time. Oh, I can't. I can send in an email. I have a conflict on Monday evenings, as you probably know.
I understand.
Okay. Sandy and I are in a dance class and his Christine is also in the dance class. Shouldn't have said that. Okay. So are we, anybody want to propose any changes to the strategies and objectives?
No, I think they all make sense.
They look fine to.
Okay.
The way they are.
Okay, and so then that's what be our guiding force as we go forward, what we're trying to do.
So we don't have to vote on that, do we?
Right. No, we do not. If we're not making any changes. The next, and the one thing that we have not discussed that I hope to bring into the committee this year relative to that strategies and objectives is on the funding side is the impact fees. And that's something we've not looked at. And I don't know how that's looked at in the town, but it just occurs to me that if we get that ordinance in front of us and some knowledge about what's in those accounts, could we make an argument that, hey, some of that funds could be put to good use per the ordinance on some of these capital projects. And in fact, if you remember from town meeting, years gone by, that at times we seem to have problems figuring out how to spend the money that's in those funds. So we might be a good place to help the cause and rightfully, for the benefit of the town.
I think the ordinance would have to be changed, which isn't
Okay.
that huge a deal. I don't think most residents even understand what the impact fees of ordinances for.
Well,
And
that's
I'm
why I
not
said,
sure that the town government understands.
well, and I think that's why I know we're not sure here. I did read them a while back and I think it's something we ought to read together and kind of look at, is there any place in what we have where we could see a source of funding, even if it's a small amount? And if there isn't, let the select board know and let them know if you want us to use some of these funds, you got to change the ordinance. I'll leave it to that.
Is that on the town website if we wanted to?
It is.
I believe it is, yeah.
And there's an explanation of it.
The ordinance is there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next item, open discussion. Is there anything that anybody wants to bring up relative to committee business? I feel awkward. We're getting done really quick. I'm gonna,
Some of these meetings
right,
later on in the
we'll
year.
make up for it later. We'll pay the
The
price.
department heads are here.
Right.
Do you have a lot of problems getting people on committees? Because I think, do we need another person on this committee?
5 would be better.
That's what I,
Yeah.
Do you have somebody?
no, but I was just thinking it would be a good thing.
Give me 7 months.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we'd love to have you.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, even if we find somebody else, then you will be number 6. That would be okay. Would you be okay with that?
That would be very okay.
But 5 or 6 would be a
I think it would be better number. I mean, it's always good to have an odd number in case you've got things that you got to vote on where you know you're going to get a decisive answer.
and it's a hell of a lot easier to get somebody to do the minutes.
An ulterior motive has been found.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next meeting is, just remind everyone, is Wednesday, December 4th. We moved the November meeting to that date because November would be the day before Thanksgiving. And usually people are busy getting ready for the holiday. I was talking to Teresa before the meeting. I have written to the department heads, including Kathy Hoag for Mallet Hall, twice now, inviting them to present to the committee in January. I have not heard from any of them. I've been using the committee email account to do that, so I don't know whether that's,
But January 8 and January 20 something.
you're right.
Okay.
And so Teresa suggested maybe I contact them with my personal email account, just to make sure the message is going through.
Or maybe just give Kathy a call.
But did you get anything from me about this meeting? Email?
I did.
I
Okay.
got several emails.
Okay. Well,
3 or 4, 3 of.
yeah, I think I,
I even got one from Teresa.
yeah.
Why didn't I get your emails? Did we figure it out?
Yeah, when I first put it into the town system, I fat fingered your email address
Okay.
and I had difficulty getting that bad one out and the new one in.
Uh-huh.
And every time I still haven't figured it out exactly, but it caches. So meaning it remembers the email address.
Yeah.
And so every time I put in your name, the old wrong address comes up first.
Well, the rr.com email actually flows through to the Gmail because
Okay, well,
because I never cancel. I hate it when people cancel their email because then you keep sending people emails and they never respond. And people have 2 or 3 emails and they jump from one email to the.
I wish that was the answer, but I think actually I typed it in, I had one character wrong and it was something like, I looked at it 100 times. I emailed you and asked you
Yeah,
about your account. And then eventually I finally saw I had one character off and
Oh, okay.
Kyler was the same way originally. Although I thought he was getting them.
Yeah, and I'm not even using my whole name on my email.
Oh.
Like Van Forst, Van Bees, or just.
All right, well, you felt sorry for the rest of us.
Spend all day typing it.
Okay. So anyway, as far as I know, everybody on the committee is getting, and Andy is getting emails from the committee mailbox, but I don't know about, it's unusual for the department heads not to come right back and
Yeah.
pick their date.
Yeah.
So
Did you hear from Kyler at all? Or,
I did not. He apologized for missing the last meeting.
yeah.
I think he sent everybody a message, so. Okay, so everybody's reminded of that, December 4th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I second that.
All in favor?
We both agree.
7:15, 7:16. Don't hold me to that for every meeting.